I've been teaching these sort of classes and courses since 1976. And typically what I would do with this sort of a program is I offer them free in the community because I feel very strongly about women getting this knowledge to protect themselves, because I've got 3 sisters and a mother. Some of these guys don't think I have a mother, but I do. And talking with my family and other women over the years, I found out that my sisters all had some sort of an altercation over time, because they say like 3 out of 4 women are going to have something happen over time. And it's like, well, in my experience, that's absolutely true. And if I can do anything to prevent these things or mitigate them somehow, I'm all for it. So I've done all sorts of stuff for the Rape Crisis Center in different parts of the country. I've taught this overseas, and I'm glad to be here, and I appreciate you coming in to take your time with me today. Because over the years, I've had so many women come back to me and say, I did that thing you taught me. And I've got story after story after story of these things, simple things that women can do to protect themselves. The number one thing is your attitude. Absolutely got to be your attitude. I think that our culture has changed a lot over the years that I've been teaching, where they say, they've actually taught people that you are not even worth fighting for. It's not worth fighting for yourself. It's like, how can you say you are the only thing you have? People will go out and buy a car and or a house and have an alarm system installed, but then they won't take a self-defense program, which is really the same sort of thing. You see where I'm going with this? I know some of you, I'm preaching to the choir because you're either martial artists or you're with a martial artist or what have you, but this martial art thing has been around for a long, long time. It was developed by little people to defend against big people who are trying to take their stuff. And so if you learn how to do these things, you learn how to do the physical striking tactics and so on, but you couple it up with an awareness and a drive, you have a tendency to be way more successful in defending yourself if something ever arises. So the number one thing is prevention. And I know comedians like to talk about all the stuff that they put in women's magazines and how contradictory they can be and so on. But when I've seen the, articles in magazines over time, the occasional one comes up, like 20 things you can do to defend yourself. And a lot of them are really good. And a lot of it is just plain common sense. You got a craving for cookies at 2 o'clock in the morning and drive down to the 7-Eleven, don't park over in the dark corner where the guys are. Park by the lights. I mean, you guys know that stuff. Travel in pairs if you can. Okay, don't put your name on a mailbox if you live in an apartment complex. There's all sorts of things that you can do to protect yourself. So I said, yeah, take that advice. But part of the other thing that you can do is things that maybe aren't so much common sense, and we have to teach them to the men as well. When I would teach women's self-defense classes, often some of the guys would go, well, what about one for me? I would like to learn that too, because I'm not a big man. So sometimes I have co-ed self-defense classes. But there are principles that you can use, particularly in prevention, that are important. Has anybody here read a book called The Gift of Fear? Did? I know people that buy it and they don't read it. I was talking to somebody today, yeah, I got a copy of it. Last time you were here, you said I should read it, but he didn't read it. A friend of mine used to say he buys the books and he eats the pages. But the author's name is Gavin de Becker. And this book came out quite some time ago. It might have been 20-some years or more. And he kind of beats the subject to death, but he really drives his point home. And one of those points is that you need to trust your intuition. There's a thing they call women's intuition. And I believe it exists. And I spend probably way too much time reading neurology books and psychology articles and stuff like that. And I've learned from such things that women's brains are, in fact, connected more from right hemisphere to left hemisphere than men's. I know that's an opening for a joke, but there's that time, those times where the elevator doors open and you got Mr. Creepy standing right there, and you want to get on, and you think about it and go, I don't want to hurt his feelings, so I'll get myself into a locked metal box with Mr. Creepy. Instead of what DeBecker says, you go, I'll take the next car. And he offers this advice in many situations. For example, if you're out at the grocery store or the Walmart or wherever you're at, and you got a load full of stuff, and some guy comes up and wants to be Mr. Helpful. And you don't really need Mr. Helpful, but they use it as an entree, so they can make some sort of a connection. In our business, we call it a change in attitude. So they build this connection, and then that gives them the opportunity to get close to you and then do whatever it is that they plan to do, unless you stop them. Okay? And in the animal world, predators have their eyes in front, and prey have their eyes on the side. If you think about what happens out there, I mean, that's just the general characteristic. I'm not saying you've got eyes on your sides, but the way that you posture yourself, the way that you move makes a difference. And you'll see people that walk along and they walk with their heads down and they're not really paying attention to what's going on. That sort of person is prey. That's what they're looking for. If you're the sort of person who looks alert, who's taking it in, they're likely to say, no, not that one. We'll just wait till the next one comes along. I got the attitude, and I got the willingness, and if I'm going to hit him, I'm going to hit him real hard. So how do I do that, Mr. Lee? How am I going to hit this guy? What am I going to do? There's a number of things you can do, of course. You've got all four limbs working. You can punch, you can kick, you can claw, you can poke, you can knee, you can stomp, and so on. But it's easier if you have some things that are very easy to pick from, because under stress you get a number of psychological and physiological reactions that will impede your practice unless you're a trained martial artist or trained fighter, what have you. And some of the things you get is tunnel vision, where you're going to focus on the threat. Okay? Your knees will go weak. You'll get butterflies in your stomach. You'll lose fine finger control. You're going to feel like you need to urinate yourself. There's a number of things, like heart rate increases, respiration increases. You'll start to sweat. Sweating is a good thing because you become slippery. It's a natural defense mechanism. Okay? So you'll have all that going for you, but as you are adults, you've experienced something like this already. You've got some experience in the past you can draw from. So, yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Even something simple like, Coleman, we're having a test on Friday. I better get ready. And people get nervous about that sort of thing. So you deal with that, and when that happens, the brain starts to shut down to a degree, and the first thing it does is goes, ah! Now what? And in my career, part of my past experience was I was a flight instructor. Taught people how to fly airplanes. And if you think teaching somebody how to drive was scary, teach them how to fly an airplane is a whole different deal. And we'd say, okay, here's a scenario. The engine's on fire. What are you going to do? And some of these students that had read the book, and they could tell you word for word, when you're sitting on the ground, you put them up in the airplane at 3,000 feet and simulate an engine failure, they go, And it's like, come on, Captain. Let's get with the program, because nobody else is going to help you. And I've been there. I've been there when my instrument panel burst into flame. Crap. I got to get on the ground, like right now. So you've got to take control of the situation. And you can't have a lot of complex things that are going on as you do it. So one of the next considerations besides acceptance and environment is your range. Okay, now how many of you have had any kind of training in how to establish a distance you should stand from an opponent? The karate people have. Okay, do you know, we have a formula, do you know what it is?
To create distance?
No, how you measure that distance? It's the length of your leg plus an inch. Okay? In other words, Cole. Okay. If I stand at about this distance, he can pick his leg up and point his toes and put his toes on my belt. And I know that just from sizing him up, but I've got many, many years of experience. And so what I would tell you is like, stand far away from him because distance is your friend. So we're going to do a very quick drill here, and you'll be approached. So Cole's going to be you for a minute, so he's going to stand like this. Okay, this is where you get to be Italian for a minute. You get to talk with your hands. I don't want any trouble. Leave me alone. And when I approach, when he thinks that I'm within that distance, he's going to say stop. So,
Stop.
now we measure. There you go. He knows how to measure this. But the distance changes with everybody. He's got a tall guy, it's all leg, size 13 shoes and all that. That distance is going to be different, but you have to say, you know what? Stop where stop right where you're at. Don't get any closer to me. And how you do that's important. I've got an instructor friend down in San Antonio named Dee Swan. You met Gary's wife, Dee. She's about this big, blonde, 53 maybe. She gets positively evil when she gets into this sort of thing. When a guy says, hey, do you want some help? She says, I don't need your help. Just back off, buddy. And it's like, jeez, Dee, take a chill pill. But it works. We won't do that right now, but what we will do is, Mr. White, can I use you for this too?
You can.
The three of us, we'll get like 3 short lines facing this way, and we'll walk up to you. You'll stand with your hands up, and just when you think we're too close or at that range, just say stop, and then we will let you know if you let us get too close or not. Make sense? Okay, I'm going to put my request in now. Please don't kick us. Don't kick us or punch us or anything like that. Just let us know when you think we're at the range where we can't get to you. You ready? Okay. So when you're at the front of the line, you start with your hands up, and when you're done, you go to the end.
Stop.
Look at me.
Stop.
Plenty of great. Safe space.
Okay, now what have you picked up so far? It's better to keep them out. Just say stop sooner.
Sooner distance. Yeah.
Okay, just stop.
Stop.
There's yeah, don't do it with a smile on your face either. Stop! Down on the ground! Now! Put your hands behind your back. Get down on your face. Okay? You like that, huh? They just got married. But it's clear, it's loud, it's as an order. It's not like, would you please put your hands behind your back? Would you please stop? Like, stop. Okay? You verbalize it. All right, you got the idea? Okay, so just stop them out there. The position that you put your hands is important too, for a number of reasons. But if your hands are up like this, if you know anything about body language, what does this tell you?
Defensive.
It's defensive. I don't want a problem,
You're ready.
Stay back.
Stay back. Okay. Surrender. Okay. Where you put your hands makes a difference in how it gets interpreted. And what I tell the karate people is also, you've got to set up your legal defense, because you're like, hey man, I don't want any trouble. This looks quite different than if I said, hey man, I don't want any trouble. Because the onlooker's going to go, well, he got into some kind of karate stance and he had his hands, his fists were balled up and all that. It just looks bad. Now, I'm not saying you need to be worried about that, but if you are a martial artist, you might take that into consideration right before you kung fu that guy, because they're gonna view the tape. They're gonna do the instant replay and go, she's not telling the truth, or he did this and he deserved it. Okay, but put your hands up there. Keep your elbows kind of anchored, because it helps to protect your rib cage. Now there's another position that you add to this with your feet. So you take a little step back. And in the law enforcement industry, they call it bladed because you turn an edge on like a knife blade. And it just makes sense because you're a smaller target. So you have less exposed as to far what can be hit during the process here. So I'm going to have you stand up again real quick. Is just, if you're standing here, you're the widest possible target. If you stand like this, you're a narrow target. So you have to kind of split the difference a little bit. And you turn your body basically on a 45. Okay. Is anybody here law enforcement or security? No? Let me put this another way. Anybody here carry a gun? No? Not going to admit it? Okay. I tell you that because it may not be your weapon that you're concerned with, it might be your purse or your child. And you put that important stuff on the backside. Okay, this is why if you watch police on traffic stops, and you can see it on TV and YouTube all day long, they don't walk up and go, hey, can I have your license and registration? They don't stick their weapon out there. They keep the weapon in the back, and they stand sideways, if they're doing it right. Okay, if they're doing it right. So you would stand basically this way, and you would need to measure that distance with your eyeballs. It's like, where does he need to be to keep that, keep him away from me, to keep him, so I can keep from being hit. Does that make sense to you? Okay. So now let's assume that we've gotten to this position and we can maybe talk our way out of it, and a lot of ladies are real good at doing that. Okay. There was a lady that told me she was on college campus when she was young, and a guy ran up, grabbed her, drags her into the bushes, and he's going to rape her. And she says, you don't want to do that. He's like, well, yeah, I do. She goes, no, you don't, because I've got syphilis, or I've got something. And he goes, oh, no thanks. And he left her alone. We're like, hey, good for you, quick thinking. Okay. So things, tactics like that you can do. And so you need to verbalize, but that, you got to keep it together to do that. And when you're afraid, who knows what's going to come out of you. Blah, 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 blah. You know, it's like your mouth doesn't even belong to you anymore. So range is important, positioning is important. And now we can talk about if they manage to get their hands on you. And we can't possibly teach you a technique for everything because there's so many ways that you can be grabbed. And we look at a general strategy that generally, most men are bigger than most women. Okay, men are typically built within their upper body and their arms and chest, and women's strength is in their hips and in their legs. By using your legs, this is part of the appeal of karate, is that I get to use a long weapon that's pretty cool, but it takes a lot of balance. And if you're standing on those high heels, it's that much more difficult. I don't know if you've ever tried to throw a front kick wearing a pair of flip-flops, because typically they go and they fly off, which can be good if you're good at it because you can aim it and use it as a distraction, but figure the odds. So you need master key techniques that you can use that are pretty simple, and you can default to them because you don't have to stop and think, what did that guy from Texas teach me at that class in California? Oh yeah, he said I have to pin this and check that and punch this and squeeze this and spit there and all that stuff. Can't do it. So what we do is we take some real simple stuff and we break it down. Now, how many of you know how to got an idea how to do a front kick? Kind of, sort of? Okay, why don't you move forward for me a little bit. Front kicks are done with 4 parts typically, Cole. So what he does is he's going to pick that knee up and aim it. So that's his gun sight. If he wants to kick me, he doesn't point his knee over there. That would mean he has to do some other type of kick. But so he picks the knee up and he points it, then he delivers the foot, bam, and he pulls it back all the way to that first point, and then he sets it down. So I like to say there's 4 parts to it. Some people will argue and say, no, there's 3. You get the point. Just don't do this. Okay? Don't just throw the leg out there and not retract it, because it's kind of like having a spear. A spear is a pretty cool weapon, but it's a one-use deal. You throw it away and it's like, you're done. So what we want is a machine gun. okay? Or we want more arrows in our quiver. So just kick, 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 kick. Because we've got a long, strong weapon. So if he said, hey, back off. Okay? What we teach the fighters is, the script is, hey, back off. I don't want to fight, but if you force me to fight, I'm going to fight to win. Now back off. So the people that are listening to this go, he said back off. He said it twice. He said he didn't want to fight, but he said if he was forced to fight, he was going to fight to win. So you got all of that going for you. Because your witnesses aren't going to get it right anyway, but somebody's going to hear that. So he said all of that to me, and I've said, no, I'm going to do this thing. And so the knee comes up, he points it, he kicks, boom, retracts it, so he's got the opportunity to kick again, set down, and so on, and then he plants the foot. Ideally, what you do is you curl your toes, okay? That's ideally. You could kick with the top of your foot if you've got a real clear shot at certain soft/flat targets, okay? I say soft, like a groin. Flat, I mean like a rib cage, okay, or maybe a side of the head. What you have to be concerned with is that when the body is afraid, it makes points. It goes like this. And it makes hard points. And you talk to anybody that's done karate for a while, they can tell you about all those dings and dents on their elbows and their insteps because they went to kick somebody and the guy went, and they hit that point. And people have broken their feet doing stuff like that. So teachers like me and Mr. White and Cole here go, curl your toes, lock your ankle. You know, don't just do something like that. So to get the kick, just put your hands up, bend your support leg. If you're right-handed, you're probably going to want to shift down to your left and kick with your right. If you're lefty, you're cursed, but shift over to the right and kick with your left, but bring your knee up on your center. If you bring your knee up by your shoulder, the weight of the leg and the momentum will start to pull you off balance. Okay, so you bring the knee up and you snap it out and back, and then down. When you actually practice the kick, and your karate friends and family can show you how to do a better front kick, they'll tell you, no, you do it a little bit faster because it whips, okay? And when you double speed, you double power. If you double mass, if you double mass, you double power. If you double speed, you quadruple power. So you hit them fast, and that's where you get the impact from. The other thing you can do is you use something called borrowed force. Okay, and it's a pretty cool term that we use in the Parker Kempo, but I'm going to give you an illustration of it. Borrowed force is going with the energy. Okay. Now, a lady takes a self-defense course way out in Wyoming or someplace like that, and she goes out to one of these cowboy bars, and some guy keeps coming up and asking her to dance, and she says, no thanks, I'm not interested. And we know this story because the person that taught the self-defense class knew her, and he was there that night. So this guy goes up once, he gets rejected. Goes up again, he gets rejected. Goes up again, he gets rejected. But I guess in between each one, he's going back and getting some more courage out of the can. So he comes back up, and he says, hey, you're going to dance with me? And she was like, no. So he grabs her and yanks her out of the chair. So as she's being yanked up out of the chair, she goes, whack! She borrows the force. She just goes with the flow. Rather than trying to fight him, she goes with the flow. She kicks him in the crotch. She kicked him so hard, he dropped to his knees on the dance floor and shattered his kneecaps. 3 days later, he went back to the emergency room because they had to take one of his testicles out. What's the message? No means no. That's what I tell the young guys, like, no means no. So you can use this in a variety of situations. Just go with the force, okay? So your hands go up. I want your hands up because, yeah, I can teach you how to kick like this, and you could get a good kick, but there's a lot of pretty smart fighters out there, and when you kick with your hands down, they go, oh, pow, slap you in the head. So put your hands up, at least give yourself a chance, okay? If you're going to make a fist, make sure your thumb is on the outside, not on the inside, and not sticking out. Okay, these are rocks. These are sponges. Okay, rock, not sponge. And if you try to hit somebody and you do it with your thumb on the inside, you're probably going to break your hands. Last time I checked, the head was round and the fist was square. And those shapes don't match necessarily. So we like to hit people with open hands because it's like palming a basketball. Make sense? Okay. And some people just like to punch people, and other people like to strike them with the open hands. I like to do both. But keep your hands up. So you shift your weight, keep that support knee bent because every action has an equal opposite reaction. It'll kick, and if it's locked, it'll do this, and you fall down, but just snap it, pow, and back. Okay? That's the idea. All right? Ready, go. Kick them. Good. Ready, kick them. Wow. One more time. Kick them. And this is a skill you should practice it once in a while because you find if you just go off and you kick somebody pretty hard, the next day you're going to go, I think I pulled something. But that's okay if you get out of it successfully. So we have things built into these kicks. And the idea here is I go, okay, well, that's pretty good if the guy's over here and I can reach him with the foot. Boom, nice long weapon, keeps him away from me. I can do some damage. What happens if he's on me already? He's got me, he's close. Okay, well, that front kick thing's not going to work. Okay, but the front kick already has a built-in kick. It's called a knee. So the knee comes up, bam. Okay, and depending on your position, you could use your rear leg, you could use your front leg, or what have you. But by loading this, you've got that extra kick. And you might get lucky at some point in the game when you're punching it out in a parking lot with this guy. Just go, pow, and you go, knee, foot. I kick him in the groin every 2 years. But you get, pow, you can get the two. Make sense? Okay. So, okay, well, that's pretty cool, right? What happens if the guy does this? Remember the lady I told you about that she got grabbed and dragged out of her house and he had her by the hair? He was doing what's called a height zone cancellation. Pretty sure he wasn't thinking that. He just knew that if I drag her, she can't fight very well. So this guy grabs and he starts doing this and pulling you along so you have a height zone cancellation, which makes it pretty difficult. So, yeah, you can punch him, but if he's doing something like this, you can't. So here's the idea. He wants to bring that knee up. Now I see that he's starting to move. I see his weight start to shift. See his shoulders move. Maybe I see his chest rotate. I see that knee starting to come up. So I go, you know what? This guy's going to hurt me, so I better pull down to cancel him. Okay, that's okay. Because what will happen is as I pull him, when that knee comes up, he's smart enough to go, you know what? I'll just take that energy and turn that into a stomp on the top of his foot. Pow! What goes up must come down. Okay? So you go up with the knee. You thought you could do the kick, but then instead you just stomp. And you put that spike heel right on the top of his instep. I don't remember what the numbers are for pounds per square inch those things generate, but I don't want that to land on my instep. I sure don't. Okay? So we call it a front stomp. So the knee comes up and you just drop your weight. And if you need to, like I can't stomp on the top of his foot very effectively this way, there's nothing wrong with doing this and turning it. That'd be fine. And if you can't see, which might be likely because it's a low light condition, you might have a situation where you made contact with him and just follow the line. It's called guidelining or contouring. Just follow the part of the body until you get to the target. It's not a difficult concept. You do it when you're walking through your house in the dark. You know, you put your finger on the wall, doorway, you contoured. And that's the principle. All right, so here we go, up and stop. That's it. And this has to be done with commitment. And you need to drop your weight. For example, how much does a bowling ball weigh?
10 to 16 pounds.
10 to 16 pounds, okay? That's about the weight of a human head, okay? And a human head would be like if you took that 16-pound bowling ball, or 10-pound bowling ball, put it on a stick with a spring, there's your bowling ball, right? So the reason I'm telling you this is because if you got 10 pounds of mass and it goes, pow, you drop it on the top of that foot, that's gonna hurt. Or if the guy were to grab you, this is your bowling ball. Bang! Just bash him in the head with that big old bowling ball You're going to hit him with this part. Don't hit him with anything else. Use the back over here or the front over here at the crown. You can use the sides, and sometimes you can use them. It's called a wipe. And a wipe is like, for example, if the guy's got you all tied up, and I'm going to put you over here. It's like he's got you all tied up. It's like, and you just wipe with your head and move that guy's head. And when the hands come loose, then pow, that's when you nail. Make sense? But a good shot to the head, good headbutt, can work wonders. You know, you ever been headbutted by your kid when they're sitting on your lap? Bam! God, you little creep. I always wondered why they did that, and I read up on it, and they said that's how they find out where they end and you start. That's how they figure their spatial relationship is they use headbutts. It's like, well, do it on your mother, you know? Okay, so you can do this by going to the front if you want to stomp that way or this way, but my point was drop your weight. Okay, breathe out and drop your weight, which leads us to breathing. Okay, you need to breathe. Cold air in, warm air out. But the breathing should be done probably accompanied by a yell. Okay. The yell suffices to do many things. One is it gets your mind and your body to work together. If you breathe properly, it tenses your stomach muscles so they protect your inside, your internal organs. It helps you to stabilize yourself because when you breathe in, you have a tendency to float. You breathe out, you have a tendency to sink. If you yell loudly, a lot of times it scares them. It's a sudden loud noise. People have a lot of reactions to things like they don't like the dark, they don't like falling, they don't like sudden loud noises, they don't like public speaking. Okay? So you do that as a yeah, and you yell as loud as you can. And the extra added attraction to that is that it will often attract attention. Okay? The detraction is that when somebody yells help, people go, I don't want to get involved. There was a case many years ago in the late 60s. Kitty, either Genovese or Genovese, okay, murdered in a doorway in New York City with 50 plus people watching. And nobody called the police. So when they talked about it, they go, why didn't you call? We thought someone else would do it. Okay?
You should have 50 phone calls to the PE.
Well, things are different now, but I mean, you're right. Back then they had phones. Send a smoke signal or something. But people go, I don't want to get involved. So your alternative is fire. Because when there's a fire, what do people do? They want to watch. Oh, I want to make sure it's not going to burn my stuff too. I mean, it's weird, but that's why, you know, we say sometimes yelling fire is actually better than yelling help. We're not going to do that today because we don't want to scare the people in the next room. But you should yell when you do it. Yeah, this is the time, introvert or not, this is the time to just yell your lungs out. And do it more than once if you have to. I'm going to have you do that. Well, we'll just yell once or twice just to yell because it feels good. Okay? So when you do this, you're going to come up like you're going to kick. I need you to imagine, because in a minute I'm going to have you get grabbed, and drop your weight. Like you're stomping and you're dropping on his foot and breaking the bones in his foot. Because if you do that, see, those bones in the foot were like this. Now when you step on them, they go like this. And when he tries to walk, every time he puts weight on it, it's going to go like this with those broken bones. You think he's going to run after you? Not very well. So it's up and real loud. Ready? It's therapy. Go. There you go. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll have you form your lines again. And please don't stomp on our toes or something, but just kind of simulate it. But I need you to get the feel for your weight is shifting. The plan is going awry. So you need to drop your weight down. Make sense? Okay. All right. There you go. And then you just go, yeah! Put your war face on, right? Ready? Good. You got it. Right. That's it. I'll grab you.
Oh, okay.
Good. That's it. So I talked to you about having the right attitude, having the willingness to do this to protect yourself and or your loved ones, because it's not inconceivable that you could be walking your kid through a parking lot and some guy says, oh, perfect target. She's busy. She's got the kid in one hand, got the person in the other. She's not paying attention. Boom, and he comes up and he's like, hey. So the next thing you know is you got to zap him. Okay, and the zapping part is always last. And you try, no, you don't want to do this. My husband will be here any minute, or there's a cop over there, what have you. But you got to have the attitude. You need to be consider what the environment is. You need to be willing to hit them. You need to be willing to hit them real hard. It comes down to it's you or them. And hopefully it will be you. I met a lady out here when I taught a class years ago, and no, it wasn't here, I'm sorry. I'm maligning your state. I was in Florida, and somebody said, yeah, you know, this is Lee, he's a karate teacher, and he teaches women's classes and all that. So we get to talking, and she says, I would never do that stuff. So what do you mean? He goes, well, if a guy attacked me, I'd just let him do whatever he wants. She says, I just can't see fighting. I said, we can't even talk. You know, we're not on the same page. It's like, I just don't see how you can't value yourself enough to protect yourself. She said, no, I just deal with it. Okay. I mean, that's how some people cope, I guess, but I don't get it. So you fight them. And get some training, so if you're going to fight them, that you know at least how you're going to hit them if you need to. Know that if you need to have a range, know that you should probably keep yourself bladed, okay? Keep your hands up by your face and that sort of thing. Try to de-escalate, if there is such a word. Try to talk them down. Be creative in your defense if you need to. Okay? And if it comes down to hitting them, you hit them real hard, and preferably more than once. Okay? Laws in different states get weird. I did have a lady out here in California said that there were cases where women had defended themselves and then they had actually gone to jail because they did. They beat the guy up. Yeah. So we talked about the attitude. We give you some examples of failures and successes. And learning some techniques that are pretty easy to do, like a front kick. Okay, there are lots of other techniques that your friends in the martial arts can show you that are simple. They're what we call master keys, so you don't have to stop and think so much about what do I do if he grabs me like this, because there's so many variations. You need to do something if something happens. Just take action. You're the pilot in command, like I talked about earlier, and don't plan on somebody else coming to your rescue. The cops are a phone call away, but you don't know how long it's going to take for them to get there. So a lot of times it's all up to you to handle what's going on at that point in time. And don't be afraid to call them. Sometimes it's just a matter of like, okay, lady, there was nothing here. Okay, well, that's better than they come and have to do a crime scene investigation. Mr. Labounty, do you know who he is? He's a senior in the Kempo system. He does a nice little drill. We should probably do it just to wrap up the class. Okay, everybody up? He has you get into a linebacker position. Okay? Like you're ready to go. It's like, all right, just waiting for a hike. Okay? You're going to go in, and then I'll tell you something, and your response to me is, not me, not today. Okay? Are you ready? I'm going to take your purse and your car keys.
Not me, not today.
I'm going to drag your kid out here and take him into the woods.
Not me, not today.
I'm going to drag you out into that parking lot. I'm going to jack you up.
Not me, not today.
It's not me, not today. Not me, not today. Okay? I'm going to take you, I'm going to kill your entire family in a process.
Not me, not today.
That's what we want. That's the attitude. Yeah. Good for you.